Hey guys, well believe it or not, I've actually been doing some work here on the Suburban, even though you might not be able to really tell, but got it pulled out of the garage here, and I'm actually about to wash it off and try to get some of this mud off. So I've already gone around while I was in the garage and scraped all the big chunks of mud off, as well as in the inside. I went in there and tried to get all the big chunks of mud up and out. I'm not going to worry about all this extra residue. It's never going to be perfect, but just all the big chunks to keep those from flying out. And we're actually getting this thing ready for round 3. We're going to be running it out at my home fair, or I should say I'm going to run it out at my home fair at the Fulton County Fair in Wauseon, Ohio. And we're going to just try to make this thing look like a truck again. So both the rear mounts had actually have torn right out. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to just kind of cut the old bolts out, and I'm going to hook this thing to a tree and drive away, and hopefully get this back end pulled back at least enough that maybe with a long chunk of all thread or something I can at least temporarily bolt that back together, and hope that it holds together again for round 3, as I said. So you can see it's pretty messed up. We've already done some bending on the bumper. I've gotten both of these sides back up. Still got to work on the middle a little bit. Frame rail is twisted, so I'm definitely going to try to pull that and twist it back. So that'll be one of the jobs here after I get it all cleaned up. I just like cleaning it so that way it's, well, 1, because I'm going to have to paint it, but 2, because that way at least I know what I got to work with and I'm not have to worry about mud falling on me the whole time I'm doing it. So as you can see, this side's really pushed in. I'm hoping that with a little bit of luck, wrap a chain around it and at least get that pulled back a little bit and more tucked in towards the middle and away from the wheel here. That's the ultimate goal. I'm going to try to pull on it at a little bit of an angle at that direction, and right now you can see I've actually already, it's kind of hard to tell I guess from this angle, but I've already taken a hammer and tried to put get a little bit of a V started on it, so that way as I pull this in, hopefully it'll start kind of Ving in the middle. And as I said, once I get a couple long chunks of all thread fished all the way through that, because that's pretty much about the only shot I got at getting this thing to hold together like a truck again. That's pretty much how it's going to have to happen, I guess. If I can get the body in a little bit more and packed in tight, then at least I can hopefully protect that wheel as far as at least the body taking it out. Always got to worry about your competitors, but hey, whatever, that's just derby. So let's just keep walking around. All the doors are pretty well pushed in except for the driver's door, so that's good. At least most guys were playing fair. The front end was already pushed in. I've hit this with a hammer a little bit to try to get it facing the right direction. I'm going to pull it up to a tree, and I'm going to use a come along, and I'm just going to kind of pull that back to where it needs to be. So that way, hopefully at least from the sides, it starts looking like a truck again. The hood is still nice and straight. Not much to write home about there. And yeah, as I said, with the core support, you can already see it's kind of leaning in. It did that after Fulton County last year, and then when I had to take the solid chunk of all thread out and go to 2 pieces, because that's what the rules said for Ottawa County, well, it went right back to where it was. And so now we're going to pull it back out. I'm going to take those bolts out again, put in my solid chunk of all thread, bolt it all solid, then we should be good. The bumper is still nice and solid. It hasn't really moved. This side is untouched. After all the derbies I've ran with this thing, this is the first time I've ever actually really damaged it. You know, it's right here. It's pushed in that corner a little bit. But this thing's been in, man, I don't even remember, guys. Probably 6 to 8 derbies, I think, this bumper. And, you know, it's just still straight. And once it's washed up and cleaned up, it'll shine with the chrome. So it's pretty cool. And the same story for this side. It's pushed in a little bit, not too bad, but again, I'm just going to take a come along and just try to pull it out ever so slightly, especially right where that bolt is going to have to go through, so that way to make my life a little easier when I have to fish that big chunk of all thread through it. And we also got a bit of a lean on the front end. It's bent under there. The A-arm's bent a little bit, but not much I can do about it at this point. And honestly, at this stage of the game, I'm just trying to finish this truck off. I've got other projects that I need to make room for, and this thing just won't die. So going for round number 3, we'll see how she holds together. Worst case is she just goes over there by the trees and sits all winter, and then we pull her out of the weeds in the spring and see what more life we can get out of it. But anyways, I'm going to try to hit with the front end this time. hit with the back out at Ottawa County, and it kind of backfired on me a little bit. I wasn't expecting to lose tires the way that I had, and also I'm going to have to pull this rear end apart. As we're walking along here, you can see I got both these doors are pushed in pretty good. It's really kind of hard to show in the video, but that passenger side is pushed in enough that the inner floor here is actually starting to buckle already, and my seat's already a little broken, so I'm gonna have to wire that up into place or something. And we're also getting a buckle. Again, it's kind of hard to see in the light, but there's a little bit of a buckle going on in the floor on this side too. Driver's side floor behind is still nice and solid. Got the sheet metal just ripping apart over there, but as I said, hopefully hooking to it with the chain, might be able to pull it out at least a little bit to make it look like a truck again. So we're going to do what we can. These wires are a little bit loose. My X that I had, which was just trying to keep the truck and the roof all kind of squared together. And it seems to have done its job, because again, we took those hard hits, but it still stayed pretty square. So we're just going to retwist these, make them tight again, then we should be good to go. Now this wire, on the other hand, totally different story. That thing has got like an extra foot of slack in it now. And so we're going to have to, once this is all pulled out, then we'll worry about trying to winch this thing in tight. And not really sure, I might try to relocate it in the back corner so it tries to pull that corner in. Again, we're just going to kind of play it by ear. I'm not really sure exactly what's the right answer until I get into it. So, and already hammered away by the wheels to get a little more wheel clearance because it was digging in pretty close to that tire. We're just going to run this fairly stock tire on the back. It's at the moment all unfortunately I got to go with it. I had the nice snow tires on the back here, and they were 15-inch rims with a Chevy 6-lug, and those are actually quite hard to find as far as steel rims nowadays. And I mean, I can buy them new, but not for derby. Heck with that. So we're just trying to finish the truck off. This thing should do it, should get me moving in the mud, and it'll be alright. So we're just going to go with it, and pretty stout heavy tire, just like the fronts, and we haven't lost one of those. So there you go, guys. I mean, that's pretty much the truck and where it's sitting. We're going to go ahead and get it washed, and then we're going to start bending this thing back and making it look like a truck again. And then once that's done, we'll touch up the paint. Oh, but going back to the rear end, yeah, we were walking back here. I'm going to have to take this thing off and take the pumpkin apart, take the back cover off, clean it all out, and figure out what happened to the rear end, because I had this thing welded posi, and then something happened out at the Ottawa County Fair where, you know, when I lost that tire, that all of a sudden that wheel on that side was not spinning. So it became an open diff again. I'm not really sure exactly what happened there. It was supposed to be a true posi, and it was for Fulton County. Never had any issues. So something must have broke out on the track, or maybe in the pits when I was driving around. I never even noticed it. But anyways, I'm going to have to take that apart and hopefully just re-weld the spider gears back together and get the thing being a true posi. That way, if I lose another tire again, at least I got the other one helping out and hopefully keeping me moving. So there you go, guys. We're just gonna go put on a show, hammer with the front of the truck, and hopefully put on a show for the crowd. So till the next video, talk to you later, guys.